Hi! Welcome to Earth and Sky. We're back again, and she's still back. Yay! Yeah, I woke up, was like, is she going to be here tomorrow when I get up? I kind of got used to waking up like, oh, she's still gone, man.
I think the kitties are going through that as well.
The kitties, oh my gosh, they still are like, she walks in the door and they're just like, oh, you're here, you're back, you came back, oh thank God.
I go to walk out and pulling the cats off.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about the trip again.
Yes,
Yay.
yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about the basic stuff last time, but let's get in a little deeper.
Okay.
And specifically Mount Kurama.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what things would you like to know about?
I realized I'm not wearing the Mount Kurama shirt, which was like, I have a Mount Kurama shirt. I should have been wearing that, but this is from a different mountain, so that's cool.
Fushimi-inari.
It's the
Fox Mountain.
Fox. I always say red fox because it's red, but it's just the fox. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what mountain is it?
Forest bathing there. Fushimi-inari.
Okay.
This is the one, if people have seen pictures of the mountain in Japan where there's a lot of the red torii gates, there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
It looks like you're almost inside.
Yes.
It looks like you're inside. There's so many.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's quite incredible. There are a lot of the newer ones, and then there are a lot of the older ones, and the concrete ones I found out while I was there are over 100 years old.
Oh, they're concrete ones.
The red ones, it's only been about 30 years that it started to suddenly get popular that they would have the red torii gates, and so a lot of them are within the last 30 years. Maybe next week we should talk about Fushimi-inari, and I'll talk about why that happened.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. So, but the focus was our favorite Reiki mountain.
Kurama-dera.
Kurama-yama. It sounds like a dance. So, Mount Kurama. So let's just start from the beginning, I guess. So you go up and there's like 200 steps to get to the entrance.
Right. Yes, just like Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda.
I was climbing up the steps thinking, are there sticky buns at the top?
The thing you don't want to do is the way he gets down.
Thankfully I did not do that.
That would be horrible. So you go, so you climb.
Yeah.
There's the entrance.
Oh, yes, and even the train going into it, there were all these little different turns where it suddenly felt like you were entering the more sacred and the more sacred.
Ooh.
You could feel the depth of the spirituality flowing through the leaves on the trees and through the blossoms of the different cherry blossoms.
Layers of energetic depth.
Oh, so much. And even through the soil, like all of these layers. That's a great way to word it. There's a little village that is off the right-hand side of the train when you're going to the mountain.
Okay.
From where I was, not far from the mountain. And as it opens up, the Japanese maple trees kind of open up for the view of this village, and you can just feel this light of spirituality flowing down from the mountains that surround this whole area into that little village.
Oh, interesting.
And then as we pass the village, there's another slight turn on the train, and all of a sudden the energy gets very deep and very sacred and very quiet. Oftentimes the mountain would tell me not to take pictures, not to think of things, to simply empty my mind and to feel the energy shifting.
Just be in the moment.
As we went into that. And there's a little tunnel that you go through where just you feel like you're leaving everything secular behind, entering the depth of the sacred.
That's cool.
And then the train station comes to the end and you can feel this excitement that's building as you're climbing towards the mountain. You're in the village. You see the little homes down the side and the little shops that flank the sides of just coming out of the train station.
Nice.
And then the path curves around a bit to the left, and all of a sudden you see a few more little mountain shops, and some of them serve food as well as smaller gift items.
Okay.
And then you see suddenly these stairs that open up in front of you, these big wide steps that go very high up. And you can see there's a building on the left-hand side near the top that actually had a calligraphy exhibition while I was there.
That's cool, because we've been watching a lot of Nova stuff that has to do with writing and calligraphy. It was awesome. So anyway, yes?
So then one of the things I didn't know before going there was that the entire mountain, Kurama-yama, is actually a temple. So Kurama-yama is not really the appropriate way to say it. That's the way I had always been saying it before. Yama means mountain in Japanese.
Oh.
Kurama mountain.
Okay.
But it's actually Kurama-dera. The entire Dera means temple, and the entire temple or the entire mountain is a temple. And as you go into different aspects of it, you're going deeper into the sacred. You're passing through more purification shrines and going deeper and deeper in the heart.
So it's like the whole thing's a temple, and then those are aspects of the temple that are specific to ideas.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
All right.
Exactly. So Kurama-dera.
Kurama-dera. I like that better.
Yes, it sounds good.
It does.
Doesn't
It does.
Yes.
It sounds very majestic. So
You get to the third flank of the stairs, and then you're at the entrance of Kurama-dera.
Okay.
And on the left side and the right side are the tigers that are the protectors of the temple. And they have the one on the right that has his mouth open, and the one on the left with the mouth closed.
Okay.
Because in front of every temple in Japan, and I believe through Asia, they always have these protectors. And on the right, the tiger is saying ah, and on the left he's saying so you have om.
So it's
the sound of creation.
It's a cycle of chant. Oh,
exactly.
interesting.
The
I like it.
constant of bringing in and sealing, bring and seal.
Nice.
And the sound of om in Western culture, we often say om, but it's actually om.
Same thing, but it's that same idea. Yeah,
the sound that birthed all of creation.
Oh, nice.
And then you walk just beyond that, and you see these tall statues that are inside a bit of a cage, so you can't quite see them exactly, but you can through the mesh. And they have the same thing, this beautiful tall God statue on the right with his mouth open, and the tall deity on the left with his mouth closed, and there are these samurai-looking deities that are so powerful, so strong. And at night, when we would go at night, their eyes would glow. It was as though they came alive, and you could feel the energy emanating.
That's amazing.
It's quite incredible. So you walk through those, and then you get to the ticket gate where you pay an entry to help with the upkeep.
We're still trying to get to the beginning.
Yes.
There's a lot.
Yes,
okay.
yes. Which is really what it's like in life, because whenever there's anything in life that is something that's deep, that's meaningful, that has a lasting, emphasis with it, there's a journey to get there. Yeah. Most of those lessons and points in your life that have made a really big impact weren't something that was just a fleeting moment of, this one day I did that.
And your whole life changed because of it.
Right. No, there was a lead up. Yeah. There was some struggle. There was some effort that went into it. And then you come through and you see the light. Yeah.
Especially if you have an actual goal. Like sometimes it happens because you don't know you're actually on the journey.
Right. Maybe there's a big accident that happens. It seems sudden.
Yeah, but stuff happens like that. But like if you go, okay, I'm going to expand this part of my life. You work and work and work and go and try and make decisions, and you go through this big long journey, and then you realize, oh good, I've made it to the beginning of the journey.
Yes, exactly.
And you're like, yay. Right. Well, at least I made it to the beginning, so that's something. So okay.
Right. But with the wisdom and the energy and whatever it is that comes through it. So yes, I feel like it was like that. And every day when I would go to climb the mountain, what fascinated me, and I saw this as I watched many other people as well, those first 3 sets of steps going to the entrance were seemingly the hardest for everyone. I know they were the most challenging for me, and I would watch that with so many people. They would get halfway up and catch their breath or hold their thighs.
Yeah, they're going,
oh my gosh. And we would sometimes laugh. I know one time I was with Inamoto Sensei, and the group that was walking with him halfway up, they were like, oh my gosh, this is really hard. He laughed. He said, this is just the beginning. We're not even at the entrance yet.
And we have a whole mountain to climb.
And isn't that just like what you notice in life? When there's a big goal, maybe you're starting a new business, or maybe you're trying to prepare to expand your family, or things like that.
Any major thing.
There's so much effort in the beginning.
In those first few steps.
Yes. But those are the most critical, because you can't enjoy any of the fruits and the rewards of anything else until you journey those first few steps.
So you've decided that not only am I going to make the beginning, but I'm going to do this whole journey.
Yes.
And so you've decided on the journey, and those first few steps are the hardest, almost always. So that's true. And then once you get on a roll.
Exactly. And I noticed time after time, day after day,
That's so
where
interesting.
it would be a little challenging, and then I knew to expect it. I knew those first ones were going to be hard, and that was okay.
Yeah, once you get halfway up that second flight, you go, I'm tired, but I'm not going to worry about that.
And then as soon as you enter the temple, it's as though the temple would carry you. Its energy felt like it would carry you. I would find myself going up a very steep incline, not too far. We're going to come back to the entrance in a second. But there was a steep incline, and sometimes I just kind of run up that or jog up it, and lots of steps throughout the mountain, and it was fine. Sometimes near the very top, it was a little challenging again on some of these older steps.
You weren't running and jogging at that point?
But I was making it, and honestly, I think
That's
a little
amazing.
better than the steps in the beginning.
Interesting.
It was so fascinating, and I watched so many people with that, so many struggle in the beginning, and then on the mountain, I would just see the mountain energy lifting, carrying
There you go.
surrounding, purifying,
That's
as though
amazing.
through its purification process, it's lifting off the weight, purifying, releasing the doubt, releasing the pain, all of that.
Like you're
It's
stepping
fascinating.
into the spiritual by crossing that initial boundary.
Yes.
But you first have to get through that physical.
Exactly, before you can learn
Stress.
to fly.
Yeah,
you watch
exactly.
baby birds as they're learning to fly, and first they're having to hop, and they're figuring out
Yeah.
how their wings spread out.
Yeah.
And,
How does this
and
work?
it can be
Yeah.
rough if they fall here and there, and it's very
absolutely.
challenging.
Yeah,
But then they get to fly, and they soar.
That's
and,
awesome.
yeah, it
That's
just
so
felt
good.
like that energy. And
Nice. Okay, so we've made it up the first few flights of stairs. You make it to the entrance. I'm assuming you buy a ticket.
Yep, which helps to conserve the mountain. You
Nice.
know,
Well, yeah.
a little donation each day
that's
for all
nice.
that they're doing.
That's nice, of
And
course.
then what fascinated me, probably one of the more surprising lessons that I had on the mountain, was right inside the entrance there, and the humor that I found. The rocks that made me laugh really surprised me quite a bit. So once you walk in and you're right past the point where you donate to enter, there's a beautiful statue of Kuan Yin. Kannon is one of the main deities of the mountain, which is the moon goddess, the thousand-armed Kannon, later became Kuan Yin. And so there's this beautiful fountain.
You said one. How many are there?
There are three primary deities of the mountain,
Okay.
Mao Tsen, Bishmanten, and Kannon.
Okay.
And then it used to be a Tendai Buddhist temple, and then
Which
it
is
kind of shifted.
Ten spirit, basically.
No.
It's a Tendai.
We can get into that.
Okay, all right.
So but it later became a different sect of Buddhism moved in.
Okay.
And it created a triune of those three deities that they said became Santen. And Santen is the great light, similar in some ways to what we use as the master symbol in Reiki.
Yeah.
And Santen is these deities where you have the love of the moon, the power of the earth, and the light of the sun in one form, which is Santen. So it's a way to, and the Santen is more the invisible aspect, the aspect beyond what you can see. So there aren't any statues of Santen because it's not a form that you can see. It's the air that you breathe. It's the life that fills you. It's
How do you
the
make a
light
statue
of the sun.
light? Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting the way some of this shift has happened over time.
Okay,
I
so
think we're
sorry.
reverting a little.
We are. That's what. So I just So you said one of them. So I just thought we'd get that.
Absolutely.
So
we'll
you walk
explore
in.
more of that later.
Yeah. So you walk in and
the Kuan Yin statue is
right
right there with this beautiful fountain, and there's this part of the water that comes out of the bamboo and part at the bottom, and it's got this kanji written around her, and flanking along the entire back side behind her, and another wall that went down behind where you pay the entrance fee. There were these rocks, and these were some pretty big sized rocks in different shapes.
No,
they were pretty big
boulders.
size.
close.
Maybe in between. Yeah. And it was just amazing to me to see. As soon as I was looking beyond the statue into the rocks, I suddenly saw all of these faces emerge in the rocks. So many faces, and very realistic. They started to really come alive, and they started to joke with each other. And I talk about the essence of stones and crystals and things like that a lot, but I've never had such an overt, very direct, very in-your-face reality
these living,
of these
functional thoughts.
The kami of the stones.
The kami of the stones.
It was amazing. They were so alive and filled with such humor. I've never had rocks make me laugh before, and these rocks made me actually laugh.
Wow.
They were hilarious, and they were joking with each other. Some of them seemed very old, some of them seemed very timeless, and they were shifting, and they had relationships with each other on the wall. And some of them started to joke and say, one of them, I remember, I can see his face in my mind still. He said, I'm stuck with that guy down there for all of time. And they were like a comedy routine.
That's awesome.
It was
amazing.
Very unexpected, as I'm in this moment of spiritual reflection, and seriousness.
Higher thought and higher purpose, and suddenly it's like, me and the ball and chain down there.
Exactly. It was hilarious.
That's awesome.
And they really taught me a lot. I learned different lessons from them on different days.
Nice.
But they really taught me so much about the ability to laugh and how important it is to be lighthearted in all things.
Yeah.
I know some of you may have known from previous videos that JJ and I have been through a lot together.
A few things.
And we always find a way to laugh through everything. I think that's what part of why I'm on this planet still is the ability to laugh in the face of pain, to laugh in the face of fear, to laugh at, all of that, because it keeps things light. But at the same time, I did not realize before this that there's parts of my life where I tend to be very serious, and I tend to be much more maybe focused in certain ways. I know. And
I'm shocked.
My humor may be compartmentalized sometimes.
Wow, that's actually a good way to put it.
Right?
That's exactly right.
And these rocks showed me about how to bring that humor just into everyday life, into the spiritual, into the classes, into the light of the day-to-day, into, when I'm trying to focus and write a manuscript, things like that, how to bring the humor into it, because the humor is everywhere. Sometimes in life we may feel like we're stuck. Maybe we feel like we're a rock in a wall and nothing around us ever changes.
It's not like you have a lot of choices at that point, but you do.
And you do. And when we find the humor and the lightheartedness, and we look at how to look at life in a lighthearted way, it's incredible what can come through for that.
That's pretty awesome.
And these same rocks, we might have to table this for another discussion, but these same rocks had taught me a lot about our animal nature and our human nature, and how to look at the distinction of our animal nature and our human nature, and the blending of our animal nature and our human nature. And they really made me laugh a lot about that lesson as well, and showed themselves in different parts of the mountain after that too.
Nice.
So do you think we should table that for next week?
We should probably table. No, although I have one quick question.
Okay, sure.
So you said that you saw the same energies in other parts of the mountain, or you saw energies like them?
Similar. So each of those essences, those rocks, had their divine spirit that was in them, that was connected in that specific rock.
Connected to that. That's what I was wondering. Because I think of spirit sometimes. There's that overlap of the idea between spirit, like ghost that moves through things, that kind of. But so those were actually the spirit of those specific rocks.
Yes.
And specific boulders and specific whatever was there, living things.
Yes.
And so you saw other ones at other points on the mountain.
Exactly.
Okay, that's
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe next week we could also get into the way those spirits dissipate as something dissipates. Maybe a rock wall is reclaimed by the forest at some point, or a tsunami crumbles it into tiny pebbles from a boulder. And that came through as a different lesson. So maybe next week we'll get into the animal nature lesson of the rocks, as well as how those spirits dissipate when it's time for them to dissipate, and how they can travel not just in that area, but to other parts of the world or other dimensions or whatever their destiny is led towards.
Their idea of crossing over, whatever that is for them, because we have the same thing.
Exactly.
When we die, we cross
Yes.
over, they can do the same thing in some way.
Exactly, and it was so
Interesting.
interesting to listen to the lessons of them talking about how they do that and how they plan that when they choose to do that,
that's neat.
and how their essence continues to grow in other ways. So
It's kind of cool, the idea that, I mean, they are going to be around for so long, so that's a gift, but what you lose is they're around for so long in like a spot.
Yes.
So like we're around for relatively a very, very short amount of time. We have the gift of complete mobility
That's true.
and change around us and all the stuff. So it's just kind of an interesting.
It is, and all the things that they get to witness over that time.
That's what I'm saying.
which
That's
is
what that for them,
fascinating.
they get time without mobility. We get mobility without as much time. Kind of a
Exactly.
thing. So the trade-off of what their life will be. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
that reminds me a little bit, and maybe this would have to be either next week or the following
Yeah,
week.
right.
When I was on Fushimi in Inari, one of the days that I had climbed that mountain,
Is
I
that-
went with a monk. The Fox Mountain, Om Kiri Kakusawaka is the sutra
Oh, I'm
for
like,
that mountain.
I'm like, wait, what was that? Okay.
And when I went there to train with a monk on that mountain one of the days,
Nice.
he talked about the energy of the trees and when they get wounds and things like that, and how they can't move. Like we can move and put a Band-Aid on
Oh
something,
yeah,
rinse
like
it
we're
underwater.
bleeding. Oh no, and clean it.
There's a
Yeah.
way that trees actually work to heal themselves and protect from insects.
Oh,
And there's something within that we benefit from ourselves with forest bathing. So I think I'll save all of that for the future.
Okay, but forest bathing.
Forest bathing, going into the woods, meditating, spending time amongst the trees.
Oh, okay. Being cleansed by the forest? Forest bathing.
Yes,
I
yes,
got
yes,
you. Okay.
yes.
I thought you were like leaves. Leaves.
Ow, 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 ow.
Oh, no, that's not.
Much to learn, my God.
Aye, that's what I'm here for. To learn. So, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button.
Visit our website, earthandskyscenter.com, if you want to learn more about all the exciting classes we have coming up and everything else. Hit
Go to the website.
go to the website and subscribe to our email list.
Yep.
And we will look forward to seeing you next week where we'll continue this story.
Thank you.